really excited to go over the in-studio sales process. This is something that I had a great time being able to really lead when I was working with Exponential Fitness back starting around 2016, 2017. I was tasked with flying around the country, going to studios, teaching front of the house, instructors, owners, all about the in-studio sales process, starting from when a prospect walks in to the facility to price presenting, closing, and hopefully making that person a member. And the one thing that I found in all of those travels was that nobody really wanted to do all of the tedious stuff when it comes to follow up and continuing to reach out to miss sales and things of that nature. And that's what sparked me to start the sales arms. So I'm the CEO and the founder of the sales arms. And what we do, put simply, is we help business owners grow their revenue, minimize their member attrition, and maximize their marketing dollars through high-level sales processes, lead management, and follow-up for their facility. My goal is to be a level of consistency in an area in the business that we all know has very high turnover. And what we're seeing, a lot more these days is just it being very, very hard to find the talent to work in that front of house area of the business and really deliver every single day, because at the end of the day, the sales process is very tedious, right? But I love it because it is driven through effort, right? Anybody can learn, these tactics and the things that we're going to talk about today, but it's the effort that you put in on a day-to-day basis that makes the difference for the business, but not only for the business, for the prospects and your clients that are coming in, right? It's really important nowadays with the vast variety of boutique studios, big box gyms, all of the different types of fitness, connected fitness, with things like Mirror and Peloton. There's just so many ways to take care of yourself today. There's so many ways to do fitness that it's really important that you're setting yourself apart through the experience that you're delivering on a day-to-day basis. So this is going to be a two-part series today. The first part, we're really going to speak about that in-studio sales process and really delivering a great experience for your prospects and your members whenever they walk in. So let's break it down, right? There's in most studios that I've worked in, I like to break it into zones, right? Zone 1 being the entrance when somebody first walks into your facility. Zone 2 being that point where they're now going to be connecting with a team member. Often that is at that check-in. Maybe you have a check-in kiosk or you have a front desk. Zone 3 is what I most like to look at as the studio in class, that true experience that a client is going to feel. And then we're going to bring that all the way back to the front desk and the front of house to close that sale finally and turn that person into a member. So I always think it's best and easiest for all the teams to understand their roles and what they need to do when you do break it into that zone. So we're going to go zone by zone in this presentation, just really go over best practices in each one to get that prospect to convert into a member by the end of their experience. Zone 1, really a big one for me. I think is really kind of falls by the wayside, right? But people got to remember when somebody's walking through that door, you got to greet them with huge energy, smiles, just make them feel comfortable about coming into your studio. We all know from our own personal fitness journeys how difficult it can be sometimes to start a new routine, to enter a new community with people you don't know. Maybe you're doing a modality that you've never done, right? So greeting somebody is so important, right? And that comes with the tonality and how you deliver your message. Like you see right here, right? You see hi 3 different ways. You can say something so many different ways with the tone of your voice and make it feel different for the person that's receiving it, right? So one of the things that we always laugh about is, how do you say hi, right? Are you hi, really upset, or hi, like really excited, right? To see somebody come into your door. And it really does make a difference, because when people feel that energy from you, they're going to give that back. So if you're saying hi with huge smile, energy, and just life, you're in most cases going to get that back from the person that's in front of you. But vice versa, if you were not giving that big energy, you're having a rough day, and you're a little bit down, and you're just going through the motions, that will transfer through your delivery as well. And that could really affect the feeling that your client in front of you has as well. So zone 1, in that entrance, make sure you are, if you can, open the door for the client as you see them coming in, right? Greet them with the big hello. How are you? How is your day going? Just start the conversation of getting to know who that person is right there, right? Because this person is shopping to find a community in most cases that is going to make them feel warm, at home, comfortable, somewhere that they could really become a part of. So that delivery in zone 1, making sure you're just energetic and you're giving it all for the person in front of you is very, very important. And then we get to zone 2, and this is where the rapport is really built in studio. And one of the areas that I often see our front of the house tend to slip up a little bit, right? So now you have your client, they're in front of you, you've asked them how their day is going, you've welcomed them into the facility. Now it's time to understand what really drove them to create an account, to come through those doors today, right? And you're going to do that through asking questions that are going to help you understand exactly who you're dealing with and how to cater what you have in your facility to them, right? So how often do you like to exercise, right? That's one I love to ask people, to get an idea of, what their exercise frequency is. Is this going to be something new for you? Is this like a jump start, or are you just trying to mix it up a little bit? Try to understand exactly where somebody is in their fitness journey, right? Because you're not going to speak to somebody who is an avid, exerciser, can work out anywhere, any time of the week, and they're just trying to, mix up something new with somebody who hasn't exercised in 3 or 4 months. They tend to, have success for a month or 2 and then they fall off, right? You're going to treat them differently. One of the big things you want to avoid here, and this is something that we see very often with our front of the house, and again, it's nobody's fault, right? You want to let people know what you have, but you don't want to list everything that you guys offer in your facility at this point. It's 2023. People are going online before they ever set foot into your facility. They're seeing everything that you have to offer, seeing class times, reading bios about instructors, and from there, they're entering their information in most cases to get a call from somebody at your facility to learn more about the facility. So if they entered your store, they know what you offer. And in most cases in boutique, you're offering 1 to maybe 3 or 4 modalities. It's not the time to go over everything you guys offer, but allow them to speak to you and let you know what they're looking for. One example I use here is you don't go to restaurants, you don't go to McDonald's and the person at the front of at the desk says, okay, well, we have number one, that's a Big Mac. We have number two, and that's going to be a double cheeseburger. Number three is chicken nugget, right? Nobody's just listing off the entire menu. They greet you, they say, hey, how are you? How can I help you, right? They're asking to know what you want, what you may want. And maybe at a high-end restaurant, they're going to give you suggestions of what may fit you well, but you're never listing off everything that you have. It's a very common mistake that we often see in the front of the house that can trigger somebody to just turn it off, right? Because there's just so much coming at them. They're already in an anxious space. It's just like, it's a lot to deal with, right? So in zone 2, it's all about those questions. You can never have, too many questions to help bring out the true needs and wants of the client that's in front of you, right? So make sure in zone 2, you're doing everything that you can to build rapport and relate your facility to the things that they're talking about that they need and that they're trying to achieve, right? What are their goals? That's always the last thing that I like to ask. What are your goals? What do you want to achieve coming in here? And how many days are you willing to really commit to yourself to do that? If you get the answer to those 3 questions, it makes it very, very easy for you, if you understand what you offer, to prescribe what's best for that person in front of you. And while, people tend to give sales, sales gets a very bad rap, and people say, I don't want to be pushy, I don't want to be salesy. At the end of the day, most people that are in these facilities, most of the people I've met in the front of the house, we're not salespeople, right? We're fitness professionals who know what's best for you to reach a certain goal, right? I kind of look at it as a doctor's office, right? When you go to the doctor, you're letting them know everything that is wrong with you so that they can use their knowledge and their expertise to let you know what you have to do to fix whatever your ailments are, right? In this case, to reach the goals that you have for yourself, right? It takes that listening and that understanding of exactly what that client that wants. And now you as the professional, whether it be in front of the house or your instructor, in this case, in zone 3, it's you as an instructor, you're the doctor, you're the prescriber, you're going to be guiding this person through a workout. And then at the end of it, you're going to let them know what's going to be best for them in regards to what their goals are, right? So as an instructor, you spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, telling this person, stand up, sit down, go faster, go harder, right? This person has given themselves to you in the hope that you're going to get them to their goal, right? The instructor is the person that a client is going to trust the most. So I always say, if you as an instructor have somebody in your class that is new, you really want to make sure at the end of the class, you're going a little bit deeper with them, right? Often, again, something that we see is that, you have your regulars that come in and you can often get distracted by them after class because they always want to chat with you. You have your cliques, right? And you tend to gravitate toward that. As an instructor in zone 3, you want to make sure that, before you work with your your regulars, you go and you meet those new people, and just like the people at the front, hey, first time here, what, thank you so much for taking my class. What brought you in today? Nice, okay, what are you looking to achieve? And the one thing that I say that everybody can deliver, it is not a lie, because in most cases with fitness, we know it's all about consistency over time, right? So as an instructor, so you don't have to be a salesy person, right? Prescribe what's going to get them to their goals. In most cases, if you're coming 3 to 4 times a week consistently over the course of the next year, those goals that you have for yourself, you're going to hit, right? But it's all about you being consistent. How often do you see yourself being able to come take my class, every week, right? Figure that out. Find out what that is. And then from there, you can then transfer, deliver that information to the front desk. I call it the transfer of trust, right? Again, most people don't want to hear from us front of house people. They don't necessarily care what we have to say, right? We're the front desk that's just helping them through things. But when their instructor says the same exact thing that we say to them, they really take it to heart, and they actually listen to them, because that's their doctor in this situation, right? But you don't want to be overly salesy as an instructor. So like I said, you ask those questions, and then you transfer that person back to zone to the front desk and let them know, hey, I just spoke with Alex. It's her first time here. She has a wedding coming up in a few weeks, wants to lose a little bit of extra weight, but also just wants to find a community. I told her, ride with me 3 times a week, and we will get you there. Steph, can you set her up with something for 3 times a week? Thank you, right? So you're reiterating everything you learned about them. This is important, because if the front desk didn't do their job initially, right, as a safety net, you would hope that your instructor did theirs and was able to build rapport and find out more about this client. Now you know exactly what they're looking for, which allows you to truly price present in a manner that is directed specifically for them. When it comes to price presentation, one thing I hope everybody has something that they could use as a visual while they're explaining how their memberships work or their packages work. Because if you don't have anything there, you're relying on everything that you're saying to them. They're going to just digest and give you an answer back right then and there. In most cases, if you have nothing to show while you're going over your packages, that person is going to say, I need to think about it, right? So if you don't have a pricing sheet of some sort, right, at your front desk, I always say it's a good idea to have that. It doesn't have to be sitting on the top of the desk or anything like that, but it's something that you bring out once somebody is done with class, so they have a visual to really go over exactly what's there. There's going to be numbers that are going to get broken down, right? You want to make it as easy as possible to comprehend the offers that you have. So in your price presentation, one, you want to know all of your prices off the top of your head. You don't want to have to, be going to the list and trying to figure out what's included. So it's always great, I think, at least once to twice a week with your teams to do pop quizzes on your offerings, right? You want to make sure that your team members can spit off how many classes you get in this package, what the cost per class is, right? And how often people come when they take that package, right? Something that they can relate to, right? At the end of that. I always think that is best. So try to practice with your team on a regular basis what your offers are so that you know it's second nature to them when they are speaking with somebody, because when it is second nature, the confidence and the delivery that comes with that price presentation is way better than when you have to flip through, look, question, and ask, what those prices are. Add to that, you don't want to try to, again, like I said in the beginning, just list everything off. From what you were told and what you learned about that person initially in zone 2, coupled with what your instructor has shared with you about what they learned about them in class, you should know from there 2 offers that will fit that person perfectly for what they're looking to get out of your facility, right? In a lot of studios, we have a 4-class monthly, we have an 8-class monthly, 12 class in some places, and then unlimited. Some places don't have the 12, they just go unlimited from there. But out of those, because obviously we want to push membership, membership allows you to build a predictable business. Is everybody going to go for membership? No, but that should always be the first place that you go in terms of your price presentation for your facility, so you can try to secure recurring revenue. And again, like I said, build a predictable business. So we're at the alternate choice right now. We'll use Alex as the example, getting married in a few weeks, wants to try to come 3 times a week. I always try to qualify the client in front of me, re-qualify them again. And when I say that, I mean asking questions again so that they can hear themselves say yes, right? If you can get somebody prior to delivering the price to say yes 2 to 3 times, in most cases, once you get to that price on that 4th ask, it's going to be a yes as well. So, Alex, just to be clear, you said your wedding is in a month or 2, right? Is that correct? Yes. Okay, awesome. And you said that you wanted to lose some weight. Do you have a number that you're looking, to hit? Okay, yes. Okay, awesome. Great. And Seth said that you are going to try to ride about 3 times a week with us. Is that correct? Okay, awesome. So I think the best thing for you is going to be either our 8-class monthly or our 12-class monthly. All of our members that are currently on our 8, they come about 2 times a week. Some of them will get an extra class in the week. Everybody on 12 is coming almost regularly 3 times a week, 2 during the weekdays, 1 on the weekend. I think one of those would be best for you. Which works best for you, Alex? Right? So painting the picture of what the community does when they choose those packages, going over all of the things that they said to you as well through this whole process, so that 1, they feel heard, 2, they understand how the community kind of does it so that they can kind of fall into that as well. And then finally, you're just leaving them with the choice of which one makes more sense from what you said to me, right? So if you're doing this, in most cases, you've pulled out all the objections that you're going to hear outside of price at this point, right? So you're now asking which one's going to work better for you, the 8 or the 12. And you would hope, right? We all hope at this point that Alex is like, the 12 is it. Let's go. Sign me up. I'm ready to go. You always want to ask for that sale and just be quiet, right? That's one of those things that we often see, and I know we all do it. I still do it to this day, is you give that alternate choice and there's a little silence. And now you're like, okay, I got to say something. Oh, so what, is there anything else that just, I always say the first person to talk is the first person to lose, so to speak. You don't want to be the person that has now price presented and is now just, word vomiting stuff because there was a time of silence, right? That time where there's nobody talking is your prospect thinking, right? If you fill that time with your words, they're going to have to continue to think about it at some point. And that's often that's the objection that comes next. I mean, the first thing that we almost always hear once we present our packages, if they're not into it right away, is I have to think about it, right? And when somebody's saying I have to think about it, it could be a number of different things. In most cases, we can almost guarantee it's most likely the price, right? So you're going to get these objections. The question is, how are you going to handle it, right? You want to make sure, regardless of what somebody says, that you're going to empathize with them. You're going to understand where they're coming from. If you can relate it to something that you've experienced before or another client has experienced before, so that they know they're not alone in that. For that matter, if you have to think about it, it's got to be something of importance to you, right? So let's break it down from there. I have to think about it. Every time somebody says that to me, I said, that's amazing. That means it's important to you. Most of the time, if you're going to take something seriously, you got to take a second to think about it. You don't want to just impulsively jump and buy something. But since we're here, right, and you have to think about it, what is it exactly that you have to think about, right? Try to figure out what it is what is the real objection here? What do you have to think about? Is it a class time thing? Maybe you can give them some suggestions. Is it class time? Is it the distance from the facility? Is it the price, right? Give them options to see if you can guide them down a road that you'll be strong with when it comes to overcoming objections, right? So for me, when it comes to overcoming objections, especially in this day and age, it is a little bit of a fine line, a little dance that you have to do with your client, because like I said, everybody is very much informed about the offerings that are there, but there's a lot of competition around you as well in terms of other modalities and things that may right be next door to you in your shopping complex or around the block in your city, right? You want to make sure you narrow down exactly what that person has to think about, and again, relate to them and try to overcome that, right? So if it's a money thing, right, I always say this. Let me just clear it up with you. If this was free, would you do this today? Okay, so this is definitely something that you want to do. It's not, it's just we have to figure out what makes most sense for you price-wise. So this is when I like to go into price per class, because in most cases, people are more comfortable talking about smaller numbers, $10, $15, $20 per class, as opposed to $179 membership, right? So I like to break it down into a per class basis. So what works best for you per class, right? Get that number and figure out exactly what will work for them in an overall, right? And maybe it's okay, well, I know you wanted to come, 4 times a week and do that 12 class, Alex. But if finances are tight right now, that doesn't mean you kick your fitness and your well-being to the side. We just got to figure out something that's going to fit you well at this time, right? So let's start smaller. Let's start with our 4-class monthly. Come once or twice a week. We'll figure out your budgets, over the course of these next classes, and maybe find something that'll fit you perfectly, once you've really enveloped yourself in the community and you've moved some things around to make this a priority, right? Because right now you're making your fitness a priority. You didn't know you were going to sign up today, but you fell in love with this. It's something that you want to do. Stay with that. Start small, and we'll work everything out over the next few weeks to get you to that 12 class or that unlimited level that you really want to shoot for. So can we get you started with the 4-class monthly, Alex? Right? Again, you want to go back and ask for the sale. You always want to ask for the sale so that there is no limbo, so that they have to give you a specific answer. Not everybody is going to just say, yeah, okay, let's do that, right? We all know it. We've all tried to overcome an objection. They just keep saying the same thing. This is where I say, really be conscious of who you're speaking with, right? And know that we don't really know what's going on with them in their life. We don't know who is supporting them or not supporting them in spending money on fitness. We don't know how anxious they really are about maybe failing again because it didn't work for them last time and they wasted their money doing it, right? Fitness is an emotional buy, and while we are continuing to use automations and different platforms to make the workflow efficient, nothing is going to replace the human connection and the emotional connection that happens when purchasing fitness, right? When deciding where you want to work out and what community you want to join. So it is very, very important to walk that fine line when it comes to overcoming objections and be willing, especially if you have the process in place, to fall back on the quality of your follow-up, right? The quality of the call that you're going to make tomorrow to get Alex excited again, to reiterate her goals to her and get her to close now on the phone, right? And we'll talk more about that tomorrow in our topic of lead management and member management. But when it comes to overcoming objections, just remember this: you're always one step away from being too pushy of a salesperson. And at the end of the day, our goal is to change lives, right? We shouldn't be looking at this as dollars brought in. I know we're running small businesses, but we're in a business of changing lives, right? We should be focusing on everything we can do to emotionally help guide that person to the success that that they can have coming to your facility 3-4 times a week. And if your product is strong, if your instructors are great, if your front of house team is amazing, and they're doing all of these things that we spoke about, you're going to win. You don't have to worry about your competitor. You don't have to worry about anybody else, right? You're delivering an amazing experience that makes people want to be in your facility. You have people and members in your facility whose lives have been changed, who are in the same position that this prospect once was. They left, they thought about it, you called them, you closed them, they came, and now they're your best member. Remember that. That is everybody that you're speaking to. Give them that respect. Do the job that you have to do on your end at being that person there for them, and close them on the fact that you really care and that it's important for you to see them be successful, right? That's the ultimate, way to overcome an objection, is delivering that feeling of, I'm here for you. I support the goals that you have. I'm going to make sure I push you through this and not let you fail, right? This is a place where this is a community where we're going to hold each other up. So I'll give you a call tomorrow and we'll go over everything once you've really slept on it and thought about it. Let's see you back tomorrow, maybe, right? Get that person back in the class as well. That's the one thing that you can miss at the end of letting somebody go. If you're gonna let somebody go, try to get them back in for a class. Try to get them to come in with their partner who they have to talk to about it. There's no better way to think about it than to just do it again, than to be a part of it, right? So it's really, really, really important to walk that fine line when it's coming to objections. So are there any questions currently? Steph, you can go back to that real quick and we'll run through this. Are there any questions currently that we can answer before we move on?
We have a couple great questions from the chat, Chris. Can you speak a little bit more to what a visual for price presentation might include? Should it just look like the pricing page from the website? Should there be more there, less there? How can we make that most effective?
Yeah, so what I've always liked is it to mirror what is on your website. If you don't have prices on your website, that's fine as well, right? You want to make sure on what I like to do a double-sided sheet. One side is membership, and the other side is packages, right? Just so if you get a membership objection, which tends to happen, you can easily go over, make a flip, and start speaking about a package that's not going to auto renew, but it's easy to kind of go over right there. I also like to have it laminated so that you can use dry erase markers to really deliver your price presentation home, especially if you have an intro offer or you're doing something special like discounting the first month or something of that nature. There's nothing better than being able to show them that regular price, cross it out on that sheet, and show them what that new price is so they can visualize their savings, right? The whole point of the pricing sheet is to allow the person in front of you to visualize what they're going to be spending, so it's easier for them to calculate it. Again, with it laminated, you can calculate it with them right there, right? You can do the mathematical thinking with them when you have that pricing sheet, right? So you can have your 4-class monthly and it's $80 a class, right? You can now write right under that, divided by 4, you're only paying $20 per class, right? So you're doing a lot of the thinking and math with them so that you can pull that objection out before you get there once you've given them your alternate choice. So just to bring it back together, double-sided sheet, one side has your recurring rates, one side has your one-time purchase package prices, right? Have it laminated so that you can edit it and do math on it in real time with that client, and then be able to just wipe it down, clean it, and use it for the next person.
Awesome. That's great, Chris. Thank you for the extra detail there. Especially love the lamination. That's great. Another thing I'd love to hear a little bit more about personally is I love the transfer of trust, the idea of the instructor who just led that awesome class, prescribing a membership, walking that new client back to the front desk to let that desk associate close out the sale, right? But I think that can be a lot greater in theory than it is easy to execute, right? If the studio's crazy on the weekend and maybe we have 5 new clients in one class, how do we execute on that in an easy way? And how do we get instructors to buy into the process too?
Two different things there. I'll start with the last thing that you said and just be really direct about it. We shouldn't have to get instructor buy-in to help make the clients that are coming in feel good, feel welcome, and present what they believe is best, right? At the end of the day, that's what their job is, right? Yes, instruct the class, but you're there to help change lives. These people don't know, a lot of people don't know what's going to be best for them, and they're expecting you as an instructor to be that person that lets them know that. So I think instructors just need to keep that mindset that this is the most important part of the experience, and you are their doctor, so to speak, and they're putting all of their eggs in your basket to get to their goals. You should understand that this business is built off of the connection that you make in that 45 minutes. And it's very important for you to be a part of the process, right? You don't have to be a salesy instructor. You really don't, right? You just have to be the instructor that you wanted to be when you got that certification, when you decided you wanted to do this, and help change that life. Let them know what's going to get them to be most successful. So that's that part with the when it comes to the instructors. But again, like you said, it's a busy day. There's 5 new people in the class. What can you do, right? This all comes down to preparation now, right? So we all are working on different platforms, whether it be Walla, Mariana Tech, the Mind Bodies of the world, right? You know who's coming in prior to that class starting, right? So as a unit, as a team, you want to prepare for each class that's coming up, right? So you get in there, you check your roster. It's like, oh boy, it's going to be one of those days, right? We have 6 new people in our 5:30. There's only 4 of us that are working in-house right now. How are we going to how are we going to maneuver this so that everybody gets the attention that they need, right? And now that's where you guys got to plan for this, right? Like, all right, I'm going to take the first new person that comes in. You're going to take the second new person. You're going to build rapport with them. When you go in, you're going to make sure you introduce them to the instructor, but help them get set up as well, because the instructor is only one person. They're not going to be able to individually help everybody get set up. But as an instructor now, one of the things that I've seen work really well is just a little announcement at the beginning of the class. Hey, if you're new, if it's your first time taking my class, please just wait, a cool 2 minutes after class. I would love to get to know you and just speak more about how to get the most out of my classes, right? So you're setting the tone, you're planting the seed as an instructor to tell that person, hey, thank you for coming. You're going to do great. I'm going to tell you how to do the best after this, after your first experience. So don't worry, right? Just enjoy yourself today, and we'll connect after this. If you can get them to hold those people back, right, then you can have a little group conversation, and then again, the instructor can guide the client to each team member that's in the front of the house. And you want to do your best to guide the people that really seem excited and ready to go first, right? And hold back that person who still seems like they're on the fence. You want to try to, facilitate the easier, what seems like is going to be easier, someone that's more committed to the front of the house. Hold back the person that seems like they're still on the fence, so you can continue to build value with them, all while your team is working with the people that have given you more information, right? And then go from there. It's never going to be perfect, right? You're going to have people that run out the door while you're talking to somebody else. It always happens. But to answer the question, preparation is going to prevent poor performance, right? So simply get with your team before every class, go through the roster, identify who the hotter people are, right? And how I look at that is maybe somebody is on their second class in the studio. It's not their first class, but they're not a member yet. They haven't bought a package yet. That person is going to be the hottest person over that first class person, because in most cases, that's the person that's thinking about it, ready to make a decision, right? So identify that person and try to get them to your best closer from there, right? And then from there, just try to get a value of each person that's coming in, right? If you learn some information on them on their introduction call, maybe that person has a little bit more value than the new person that has no information to it, right? So just prepare with your team to be organized and be able to play off of each other. Again, it's never going to be perfect, but that preparation is going to put you in the best place.
Makes total sense. We've got a question here on class packs, Chris. How do you think we should price those in order to let the membership sales take priority? Do we price them high, use them as the last resort? What are your thoughts there?
I always like for your membership price per class to be the best in your facility in comparison to your packages, right? Because again, you want to drive people to wanting to purchase a recurring membership, because it's going to allow you to build that predictable business. So you want to make sure, one, your prices are tiered. So your lowest membership, right? Your cheapest membership is going to have your highest price per class, where your membership that has somebody coming unlimited will break down to the lowest price per class. And then from there, your lowest package offer. And I often say, if you're going to have packages, choose two, right, that make most sense for your business, whether it be a 5-pack and a 10-pack, or a 10-pack and a 20-pack. You don't need 5, 10, 20, 30, no, right? Like, that's where your memberships will come into play. And anything outside of that, you have two options. The less options that people have to choose from, the less thought that's going to go into it, the easier it is to make a purchasing decision. If you have 10 to 16 different packages, you will 100% have somebody thinking about it 100% of the time. You probably will not have the greatest closing rate because there's so much to digest, right? So to start the pricing for the packages, I would say the pricing starts $1 per class, like $1 or $2 above your most expensive price per class membership, right? So that they're always driven to, if they're price driven, right, to go into your membership to save money. So you can always overcome any money objections with, if you really want to save, take one of these, right? As opposed to continuing to talk about the packages, right? The package is there, and it's a little bit more expensive because it's made to fit your convenience, right? It doesn't necessarily fit our business model that we're trying to build, but we want to make sure that there's something there that fits you too. We understand not everyone is going to fall into that category. So those people should understand that they're paying a little bit of a premium so that they get something that's specific for them, right? But if it is about price, you always want them to be focusing on that recurring revenue if that's your focus for your business. And I suggest it to be your focus so that you can grow a facility that allows you to get more work-life balance. I know as fitness studio owners, our studios are open 7 days a week. Holidays are the busier times, right? More people are coming in. It gets very, very hard to find that work-life balance when trying to transform all these lives and help all of these people. Recurring revenue and building a big membership base is going to allow you to get to that point where you can breathe a little bit once you hit your membership numbers that allow you to hit your revenue goals. So that's always my focus there. All right, awesome. Thanks, Alex, for facilitating that. Steph, you can go back to that just so I can just kind of recap real quick. But just to go over everything, right? Zone 1 is that entrance. Make sure you're delivering a amazing feeling in zone 1, right? Let your personality speak, smile, be energetic. You have no idea where that person's coming from, how their day has been. They're counting on us to be that getaway, that place that makes them feel good. Fitness is not just about losing weight anymore. It is, about just feeling good, being a part of something, being more than you thought you could be, right? And the community that you build within your 4 walls helps deliver that. So 1, really deliver that great experience through your emotion at zone 1 in that entrance. Zone 2, on that front desk, build rapport, ask questions. If you find yourself doing all of the talking at the front desk, you're not doing it right, right? Take a step back, stop, think of a good question to ask, right? I'd say I do a workshop with my teams at least once a month to ask, what questions have you been asking this month that have been garnering huge conversation, right? So you can now maybe on a little Post-it or something at the front desk, have 4 questions that live there so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel and try to think of a new question every time. Use that month's go-to questions that have been doing really well, keep them there and ask those because it's going to get you to the point that you want, right? So again, be prepared to ask those questions. It's the preparation is everything in all of this, right? Now, zone 3 in the studio, this goes back to the instructor being the doctor, prescribing what's going to be best for their patient, aka the prospect, that client that's in your class that has goals that they want to achieve, right? You want to connect with them. You want to let them know that if they come and see you at the very least 3-4 times a week, they have a high chance of reaching their goal as long as they're consistent, and then transfer that trust back to the front desk so that they could price present, so that they can requalify, price present, and then ask for the sale. Hopefully that person was so blown away that they sign up right then and there. But if not, and you have to overcome objections, empathize with what that person has said to you. Make sure you reiterate what they said and you get an understanding of what the real reason is. Present another offer that makes sense from the objection that they gave. Be silent. Wait for them to give you their final answer and then move from there. Remember, if you don't close them at that point, you rely on your follow-up, your lead management. And if you did close them at that point, you now have to rely on your member management. Both things that we will speak to tomorrow that are very, very important in the overall process of running your studio, because we all know we're not batting 100% when it comes to closing people. in their first visit, right? So that follow-up, that lead management, that member management is going to be pivotal in increasing that closing percentage and getting those people that have to think about it to become a part of your community. And not just that, become the best part of your community, the person that's going to bring friends, tell everybody about their experience, tell them about how when you said you had to think about it, they didn't pressure you, right? They said, don't worry about it. I'm gonna follow up, and they did follow up, right? So we'll go over all of those and the best practices in our next presentation. Thank you so much for the platform and giving me the time to share my thoughts and all of my experience with the BFS network.